to collaborate anymore. So this is something that has really become our mission, to increase the level of collaboration, increase, agents helping agents. Ultimately, that means when you do better, I do better, we all do better. I mean, isn't it nice when you do a real estate transaction and the agent on the other side of the deal, that you guys actually work together and you're not fighting, that you actually support each other, that you actually have a common goal that you're working towards together? Think about a time where you were dealing with an agent on the other side of the deal that was just, God, it's like, can you just try and be helpful here, right? Can we just try and make this work together? It would make both of our lives and the client's life so much better. So that's something that I think we continue to focus on, and it makes it all better for everybody. All right, so the first point we're going to talk about today is actually prospecting. It's something that I was on a panel this morning. Joe here in the audience was in the audience of that panel, and he called me up and we were just chatting about a little bit of prospecting. I said, hold that thought. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it on the call, because that's something that impacts all of us. So, so Joe, you have a goal to prospect an hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, so I try to get 3 hours in a day, and 3 hours in the morning wasn't working. Some people, they're at work, they don't want to talk. 3 hours in the afternoon doesn't work well. So I split it half and half.
Yep.
And originally Aaron kind of, we'll say he mocked me a little bit, but he drilled down that my 10 touches wasn't enough. But there was a little miscommunication. When I say I try to make 10 touches a day, it's not 10 phone calls a day. It's not 10 emails a day. That's 10 touches. That's contacting 10 people. It might take 10 phone calls and I talk to 10 people.
Yeah.
It might take 20 phone calls. It might be, I made 30 phone calls. Nobody's answering their phone. I keep getting voicemail. So let's go out and prospect the neighborhood. Hey, I just closed a deal over in Virginia Beach, and let me walk that neighborhood.
Yep.
Let me go door knocking over there. And maybe I can talk to the guy I just sold that house to on the 8th of this month and say, hey, Benjamin, have you met any of your neighbors? Would you mind introducing me to them and see if they know anybody that can refer me, and meet people that way. 10 touches is 10 people a day, not 10 phone calls.
Right. So one of the beautiful things about this call is that because we're all supporting each other, it's a safe place to get brutally honest, right? Brutally honest. So and I'll be honest with you, because it's only going to help your business, right? That's what we're all here about. So there's all kinds of different people you can prospect as past clients or center of influence, as expired listings, and for sale by owners, and cold calling, and door knocking, and open houses, and all kinds of stuff. So with your prospecting, generally speaking, who are you prospecting in the morning and who are you prospecting in the afternoon? On the phones, who are you calling?
So I open up my CRM, and the first thing I do is I've got notes on each person in there. Some of them say they're at work, and I've got a note that says, or I tag them afternoon, tag them morning. So
What's
the ones
source,
that are morning.
Are these past clients? Are they center of influence? Are they just people in the neighborhood?
Some of them are realtor leads. Some of them are cell phone leads. So with my past brokerage, it was go out and talk to people. Hey, look up people on Facebook. When I shifted over to EXP, the onboarding taught me about, hey, why don't you grab this thing called a cell phone and look at your contacts. I retired from the Navy after 21 years, and I had over 600 people in my phone book.
Yeah.
I started calling.
Great. So ultimately what happens is this, and the reason why I asked that is because different sources, this is important for all of us. You could feel like, God, I worked hard today. I'm out there prospecting. I talked to 10 people, and then you're not getting necessarily the results you want. And you have to look at this really like, why am I not getting the results? And sometimes it's having conversations like this to just open your mind to, whoa, there's another level to this, or a few levels. I didn't even know that existed. So when you're talking to past clients and center of influence, all your Navy contacts, those are center of influence. These are people that you served with Thank you, Joe, for your service, by the way. So these are people that you served with, that you have a camaraderie with, that you have a real rapport with. Those people are way higher on the totem pole as far as great contacts, because why? They already know you. They already like you. They trust you. They served with you. They want to support you. These are your people. Like, this is your tribe, right? These are the people that would love nothing more than for you to have success in now your next career, next endeavor. So it will take less calls to have success. The challenge, Joe, with that group is that it's a limited number. 600, it's a lot of people, but 600 isn't 6,000. Like, you can work that group, and then you've got to look outside that group. Then you start maybe door knocking in the neighborhood or something like that, right? So
The other
first thing,
problem is most of them already own their homes.
Yep.
And when you get to Hampton Roads, you either transfer out of the area, so it's one and done, or they stay in that same home and they don't want to upgrade until they decide, okay, I'm retiring and I'm staying here, or I'm retiring and I'm leaving, and then it's one and done. And they're good reference points, but those references always don't work out because there's a lot of active duty people that have spouses that are realtors, because they found out that all I have to do is get licensed in the next state my husband or wife gets stationed in. So while it does help with the network, it also doesn't, because there's lots of military spouses that are realtors as well. And
right.
I'm just a retired one.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, it is what it is, and there's always going to be competition. So yes, and those spouses will get a portion of the deals, and you'll get a portion of the deals. But it never stops you. It never should stop you from asking those great questions. How can we serve? How can we help? Who do you know that needs help buying or selling real estate in the next 30, 60, 90 days, whatever? Who do you know that's thinking about investing? Yes, maybe they're not moving, but they have friends that are. It's their people. They have their database as well. As you create rapport with these people, as you become the real estate resource for these people, they open up their databases to you as well. So this is what I want to talk about. Let's start this off with prospecting. Having the skill set to be able to repeatedly and consistently prospect on a daily basis, not a weekly or a monthly basis. Any business that is going to stay in business has to do lead generation every single day. It is what it is. The sooner you accept the fact that we are in the lead generation business, then the much easier time you'll have having success in this business and not having this mental battle like, oh my God, I go to prospect again. No, accept it, dude. Go prospect. It's part of the program, right? So let's share a little bit of kind of what's possible. So Sean, I know the past few days you have not been prospecting because you've been having some work done, dental work and stuff. So you've been busy. But right before that, you prospect an average of how much per day?
At least 3 hours a day.
At least 3 hours. And how many people do you talk to in 3 hours? Not knock on these are all the doors. You're knocking on doors, and you'll talk to how many people in 3 hours on average, low to high range?
So yeah, 20 to 30 people per day.
Okay, so 20 to 30. Now, you also, at some point a few weeks ago, got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you went 1 week and ramped up your prospecting like an animal. What did you do for that week? How many hours per day?
It was 5 hours per day.
5 hours per day, 5 days in a row, right? 25 hours in a week. And how many people did you talk to each day in those cases?
50 to 60.
Right. What's the most number of people you've ever talked to in a day?
I think 63.
Which took you about 5 hours?
Yeah. It was
At
one
the
of those
door.
days. Yeah.
At the door, right. So it's thank you. So this is not comparing. It's not what this is about, Joe, but what it is about, it's like, wait a second. So he went and actually, so first of all, I thought 3 hours is a lot. And guess what? It is a lot, Joe. 3 hours is a lot. You pull 99% of the agents out there, they're like, what? What is prospecting? Are you kidding me? Let alone 3 hours. So 3 hours already, you're ahead of your competition.
I have team members that only do an hour.
Yeah. The point, but what I want to just open your eyes to is when you start hanging around people where 3 hours the minimum, right? Chad on the call here, your minimum is 3 hours a day, right? Like if I don't If I don't prospect 3 hours, I feel like I haven't taken a shower. I just don't feel good. Like what? So now, but Sean is open to the idea of going 4 or 5 hours. Ultimately, these are the things that are income producing activities for all of us. It's prospecting, it's lead follow-up, appointments, negotiating contracts, right? PLAN, easy way to remember it. Prospecting, lead follow-up, appointments, negotiating contracts. Those are the income producing activities. But guess what? If you don't have any appointments to go on, if you don't have any contracts to negotiate, good, I'll spend more time doing prospecting and lead follow-up. There's no rule that says you have to stop at an hour or 2 or 3. Sean just said, you know what? Damn it, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. 5 hours, and just he was exhausted every day, but he needed to do that to just bust out of complacency, you know, because he felt complacent at 3 hours, and it really took him to the next level. So it is very, it's very, be open to the possibility of prospecting and talking to 30 people in 3 hours with a real intensity. Darn it, I'm gonna go and double my contacts today, no matter what. I don't care how long it takes. I'm gonna go out there with an efficiency and a certain expectation and an attitude of like, I will not be denied. I'm gonna hit 30 today, come hell or high water. Like, I don't care if it kills, like I'm doing it. It's that level. A should becomes a must. If Sean could do it, I could do it. Like, I want to hit 50 contacts in a day. One time, probably 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I decided for 1 month straight, I was going to do 100 contacts a day on the phone. I did it for 30 days straight. And now, the funny part of it, I didn't get any listings from it. You know why? Because I got what's called contactitis. I was only thinking about the contacts. I wasn't thinking about getting an appointment. I was just like, I'm just going to do this and just get it out of my system. Just go do it. And I did it. And it took me a bunch of hours every day, and it was exhausting, but it really reframed my whole mindset around what I am capable of doing. Sometimes you need to shake yourself up and totally like get yourself out of this rut you've been in. Prospect an hour and a half in the morning, prospect an hour and a half in the evening. I have my 10 touches, but sometimes remember there is no cap on what we can do here. So it really is completely dependent upon what you want to do. Like we said earlier on the call, how badly do you want it? What price are you willing to pay to get it? Some people will only prospect an hour a day. Not only, it's what they do, and that's fine. Some people won't prospect at all. They'll get a deal here and a deal there from past clients, neighbors, friends, family, center of influence, people at the school that their kids go to, whatever. You don't have to go like crush it all the time. But what you do have to do is to determine what your goals are and if your activities are matching your goals. If your goals are to do 50 deals a year, you can't prospect 1 hour once a week. That's not, it just doesn't compute. It doesn't add up, right? So it's really just taking a step back and going through a goal setting process of what are my goals, and am I doing the necessary items every day to get me from point A to point B, get me from the goal that's in my head to achievement of that goal. So it's just and that's the beauty about a room like this, about people like this. It's a place where you'll always get brutal honesty, unending support, and hopefully access to something beyond what is normal, right? Something beyond what is normal for you. So pushing, just pushing each other is always a fun thing to do, in a kind way. We push in a kind way, right? Any other questions or challenges with regard to prospecting that we can highlight from anybody in the group? Okay, good. So one interesting metric to follow, and this is a very, very general metric, is that you will do the number of deals that is equivalent to the number of prospects you talk to each day. If you talk to 50 people every day, then that will slate you to move towards 50 transactions a year. If you do talk to 25 people a day, then you are slated to do 25 transactions. Now, there's a few things that shift that. The market that you happen to be in can shift that a little bit. Let me just tell this person, I'll call them back. Who you're prospecting can shift that a little bit. So if you're making 10 contacts a day, all to past clients, center of influence, people that know you, like you, trust you, want to support you, then it's a different scenario than if you're just knocking on 10 cold doors. 10 cold doors a day is not going to equal 10 transactions a year. 10 past clients and center of influence every day will turn into 10 transactions per year. 10 expired listings or for sale by owners every day absolutely will turn into 10 transactions per year. So, you know, that's a very generic rule, but it's a rule. It's something that can be followed. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, but when Sean 5X's that up to 50 doors a day, that probably would translate into your 10 because it's cold, but he just 5X that.
Yep. It's all a numbers game. That's right. That's exactly right. It really is all about numbers. It really kind of becomes a mathematical impossibility not to find somebody. You talk to people, even if you're bad skills, bad attitude, it's going to resonate with somebody. You knock on the door, grumpy. You're not going to sell your home, are you? Somebody's going to be like, I like you. Come on in. It's like, wow, you found like the one person that's grumpy that was looking for another grumpy person to sell their home. You'll have much better success if you have better skills, a big smile on your face, energy, enthusiasm, you're using the right words, you know, you got the right attitude, like you'll have a much much higher probability of having success by doing that. But it really truly is a numbers game. So yes, that is something to consider. Well, there's two benefits actually to increasing those, 5xing that, Joe. One is that by talking to more people, it's just math. It's just an equation. I talk to more people, I have a higher likelihood of finding somebody that wants to do something. This is the really cool thing that happens though, when you 5x it or 10x it or whatever the number is. You get good fast. So, there's that saying about 10,000 hours to become world class at something. 10,000 hours of doing anything, right? You want to be a basketball player, go practice for 10,000 hours just dribbling a ball. I think Magic Johnson used to go up and down the blocks, going through up and down all the parked cars for hours and hours and hours. And that's how he became such a great ball handler, right? That's just, so 10,000 hours. When you prospect 5 hours a day and you talk to 50 or 60 people a day, you are hyper learning. You're not just like dabbling. You are breaking down your ego. You're breaking down everything you thought you knew about this, and you're having a breakdown that leads to a breakthrough. Then you build yourself up as a much stronger salesperson. So there's something incredible that happens when you go through that hyper learning process. So yeah, I'm a big fan of just like burn the boats. Let's do this, man. Let's just dive in 2 feet and just have some fun with this. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Next point is really about exposure. It's about exposure. What kind of exposure are we getting? Now, there's different ways to be exposed to different thought processes. Exposure could be coaching, right? There's a few people on this call that have a coach, right? Holly, you're in coaching, right? Yeah, she's on mute, but she said yes. Right? Who's your coach again?
Ann Baker.
Oh, Ann's awesome. Yeah. So Ann exposes you to things that you wouldn't normally be exposed to on your own. She takes you to new levels. She forces you to have new thoughts or to take new actions or to use new scripts, right? She brings you to a territory that you weren't capable of bringing yourself to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you feel like coaching has been helpful for you? Or has it?
Yes.
In
Yes,
what way?
extremely.
In what way?
Accountability is the main thing for sure. And just, I'd say that's the main thing. And just, it made me learn the skills that Mike talks about. So you know what to say when you get the call or meet someone. And negotiating and mindset. I could go and lead follow-up and prospecting.
Yeah. So that's what coaching does. This is not a commercial for coaching, but coaching really can mean different things to different people. And for Holly, it's accountability was the first thing you said. You know, ultimately, it doesn't have to be coaching. It could be anything that we participate in that leads us. Hold on one second. Okay. So it doesn't have to be coaching. It can be anything that is going to lead us to a place that we were not capable of getting ourselves to. Ultimately, with our own knowledge, with our own smarts, our own intelligence, our own life experience, it's brought us to exactly where we are right now. But how do you get to the next level? If you sell 10, how do you sell 25? If you sell 25, how do you sell 50? How do you sell 55? You know, if you make 200,000, how do you go to 600,000, right? Whatever those numbers are for you, ultimately, you have the ability, the capability to get to exactly where you got to today. So it can be a coach, it can be a book that you read, it can be a video you watch, it can be a seminar you go to. The point is, it's participation in something that is outside of what is normal for you. Coaching is one of those things. The wonderful thing about coaching, I think, is that when you pay for it, you pay attention, right? You're like, I'm not wasting this money. I'm paying this coach. I'm going to show up on the call every week. I'm paying for this coach. I'm going to follow their advice. I'm going to do what they say, right? I bought this book. I'm going to read it. I paid for this seminar. I'm going to show up on time and pay attention. I'm not going to go on long breaks. Like, I'm there. I'm taking notes. I'm going to implement. So participation to something beyond what is normal for you is probably, in my opinion, the biggest key to growth. So the question becomes this for all of us: where are you getting participation from? Where are you putting yourselves in a situation where you're receiving something that is outside of what is normal for you, where you're participating with people that do way more than you? What are some things you guys can think of, some different ways to get out of your comfort zone and really put yourself in a position where you're forced to think bigger, you know, grow your mindset, those sorts of things?
I guess I'll go.
Go for
Every
it.
Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I have a mentoring and coaching conference call with about 200 other people with Mike Costigan, Lars Henderson, part of my upstream. He does a production call every Tuesday, kind of helps us agents that are part of his network stay abreast of what's changing inside real estate, and directly with EXP, what's going on there. Yep. And then every Wednesday, my team at 10 a.m., we have an accountability call, the first Wednesday of the month in person in the office. Every other Wednesday at 10, it's a Zoom call. And then myself, since I'm still inside my first year, which ends here in a couple months, this year, and my first year with the team that I'm on, every Tuesday and Thursday in the morning, I meet with the team lead for personal coaching with her.
Awesome. See, that, I mean, that is very measurable. It's very scheduled, right? He just rattled it off. See, that's why people that come out of the military are such damn good real estate agents, because you can follow the protocol, right? You just follow the protocol. And that's a beautiful thing. That's all.
And it's all on my
is.
calendar right there.
That's it.
And it's the same thing every single week. It's repetition.
Yeah. Now, what if somebody doesn't have all those things? What can you, then the question is, what can you create? Do you have any friends that are real estate agents where you can say, you know what, Sean, you know what, Ray, the three of us, let's create a little mastermind group. Let's create a little accountability group with each other. Let's talk, once a week. Let's talk every day. Let's hold each other accountable, whatever it is, at any level that you feel is appropriate for you. You don't have to join a team or be on some big team or change brokerages or doing any of that stuff. You can start to create this stuff today with some of the relationships that you already have, right? So let's say, Ray and I want to hold each other accountable for prospecting every day. It's like, darn it, Ray, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. I need some help. I need to prospect. I want to prospect. I don't need to. I want to prospect every day. Why? Because my goals are so important. I want to make it. I want to do this. I want to support my family. I want to make my kids proud. I want to be a good role model. I want to do it for myself. I don't want to go home every day thinking I could have done more. I could have, I should have done more. I could be more. I'm over that. I'm sick of it. And Ray, I want you to help me with accountability. You up for that? And he goes, hell yeah, dude. I want the same thing. All right, how are we going to do this? All right, well, what time do you start prospecting? He goes, 8 o'clock. Me too, perfect. Let's talk at 7:45. Let's do a quick role play with each other. Let's tell each other what our goals are, and we'll get on the phones. And at 11 o'clock, we'll check back in and we'll see how we did, right? And we hold each other accountable. Now we can even meet if we're in the same marketplace. Ray, come to my office or I'll come to yours. Let's prospect together. Let's do this together every day. Let's support each other. It is so much more fun. And then at 11 o'clock, we talk to each other. Ray, how'd you do? I did great. I talked to 18 people. I found one lead. 4 people hung up on me, but I don't care. Like, I just wanted to report that. How'd you do, Aaron? God, Ray, well, I'm embarrassed to say I prospected for an hour and then I screwed around on Facebook. And Ray's going, Aaron, what the hell, man? You said you wanted to do this. How could you let that get in the way? I'm here to support you, dude. I know you could do better. Like, tell me exactly what went wrong. Tell me when it went wrong. Tell me what you were thinking. Let's, in the realm of possibilities, is there a possibility you could have actually stuck to the program and prospected the full 3 hours like you committed to? What stopped you? Where'd you go off the rails? And how do we stop that from happening in the future? Because Ray cares. We can have that level of collaboration together. So if this is a challenge that you guys are having, this is something that can very easily be created with the peers that you already have. Even if you don't belong to a coaching company, even if you don't, aren't on a team or anything like that. So anyway, great thing. The next thing we're going to talk about is systems. Systems. Have systems set up for every phase of the business. Every phase of the business. Do systems have to be computerized? No, not at all. Do they have to be complicated? Definitely not. Do they have to be fancy? Nope. Do they have to be expensive? No. They can be free. They can be simple. They can be very elementary, but they are a system. Joe has a system for called a calendar to be on his accountability and learning and education calls and Zooms every week. There's a system behind that. It's a very simple system called a calendar. So to have systems around every important aspect and phase of this business. So do you have a system, let's say, for prospecting? A system for lead follow-up? A system for how you go on appointments? What's your system for that? How do you prepare for an appointment? What do you bring on an appointment? What script do you use when you're on the appointment? So again, back to prospecting. Do you have a system for prospecting? Okay, Joe's got something. So do you think about prospecting? Do you know every day who you are going to prospect? Right? You're on mute, Joe.
I keep a hard copy of my buyer packet every single time. That way, if I set up an appointment, I've already got it ready for every time there's an appointment, whether I'm in the office or at the home office.
Yeah, perfect. That's the system.
Inside the folder, there's my seller packet. So every time I get a listing appointment, it's already printed out, ready to go.
So let's talk about, let's say, prospecting, for instance. I mean, we all have plenty of systems in our life, right? And we go to bed at about the same time. We wake up at about the same time. Many of us have a morning routine that you follow, right? You have a system for drive. You drive to work, unless if you don't work at home, if you work in an office, like we drive the same route to work. I always go down Main Street, take a right on Elm. So that way, like everything is systematized, whether we like it or not. So how good is the system? So prospecting, let's just say that. Do you know who you're going to call before you show up? Or do you just show up without a system like, oh my God, now I got to figure out who am I going to call? Should I call some past clients? Which past clients? Well, let's see, who should I call? Should I call Jim? No, I don't want to call Jim. Mary, I'll call Mary. No, it's like, that's not a system, right? You have to know prior to showing up at the office or in your home office or wherever, who you are going to prospect. That is a system. Who am I going to prospect? If you're calling past clients, center of influence, there's a system behind what am I going to say? That's a system. Maybe I'm going to talk about a new listing that we just brought out and to ask them who they know that's looking to buy a home here in the area, right? That's a system. It's following a script. So everything from, it doesn't have to be fancy, but there should be a protocol that is followed to create a level of efficiency. Now, who on the call feels like they are lacking in some system in their business? Whatever that area, that phase of the business is. Is it time blocking? Is it anything? Listings, buyers, price reductions? I mean, listen, there's a system around price reductions, right? This market's changed a little bit. There needs to be a system. So within 14 days, if we don't have an offer, start talking to the seller about a price reduction, right? That's a system. Because I already know that if it's been 14 days without any showings, things are not looking good. We better have a brutally honest conversation, because 14 days can turn into 14 weeks like that. Then the seller's really pissed off. There's a system around that. So who feels like they need a system around some aspect of their business that could use a little more efficiency? And we can hopefully come up with a system that could work for you.
You and I already talked about it. We already covered it. My biggest deficiency is the accountability aspect on other things taking over. And unless it's a specific scheduled event, my prospecting sliding off because, well, that it can wait because this came up or that came up.
Always going to be
already covered that.
distractions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just a couple of quick points for those that have the same issue. There's always distractions, always. You operate well off your schedule, so your prospecting is in your schedule, is it not? Does it say prospecting in your schedule? That time is blocked off in the morning and afternoon?
Yep.
Okay, so why don't you follow it?
The wife, the grandkids, a client calls me, showings, somebody needs a showing. Well, I can't always move those showings around, or sorry, I should tell them, hey, I'm not available until this time because that time is dedicated to prospecting, but I don't. It's
Right.
like, okay,
It's a
because
choice you make.
showing might lead to a ratified
true.
contract, which leads to closing, while prospecting is trying to find the next client.
Yep. It always comes down to the choices that we make. You choose to skip out on your prospecting to go show a buyer.
Yeah.
You know, and really you choose to, oh, my wife, my grandkids. Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, you could have a conversation.
I'm making
as
the
an idea.
choice not to commit to it. Yes.
Right. Or if you had a hot listing appointment that time and your wife is like, hey, honey, can we, I don't know, talk about whatever. You're like, listen, I'm preparing for a listing appointment. Can we talk about it later? Or maybe, hey, I've devoted an hour and a half this morning and an hour and a half this afternoon to prospecting and making our life better. And these are the goals that I've set for this family and what I want to do for you, for us, for the grandkids. And I need you to help me stay accountable to that. This is important to me that I do this, because it's gonna really impact our life in some fantastic, fabulous, extraordinary ways. And I need your help to help me be accountable. The grandkids, you can set goals with them. Listen, when grandpa sells this many homes, we're doing this for the day. We're gonna have some fun. I need you guys to help me stay accountable. And they're gonna start coming in. Grandpa, how many contacts have you made? Come on, let's go, get to it. Right? So it can be, anything can be gamified. Anything can be, these distractions can be flipped around and they can become our strongest assets. It's because of my wife. It's because of my grandkids that I prospect so hard. That's why I'm so committed to my schedule, because they're more important to me than anything. That's exactly what drives me. That's why I never miss that hour and a half, right? So it really comes down to what we said before. How badly do you want it? And what price are you willing to pay to get it? Sometimes complacency is just, it sets in and it's like, you know what? I don't know your situation, but we'll make something up. Listen, I retired from the military. I've got a pension. We've got some investments. Everything's fine. Like, I don't have to work. I don't have to do this, or I have a certain amount of money coming in. So, complacency is it's like that book, good, good. They talk about good is the enemy of great, right? Things are good. Things are good. Let me skip out on the hour and a half of prospecting. But once you really get clear, on why you're doing this, something that really, like, when it takes this little 12-inch journey from your head to your heart, and it's like, oh, I should probably prospect, or it's like, I have a commitment. I will not be denied. And I'm putting my life behind, I'm doing this to reach my goals for the people I love and I care about. When it takes that journey, then you'll break through brick walls to get it done. So who else is, we'll make this kind of the wrap up, but anybody else on the call that's dealing with an aspect of their business that they feel like they need some more systems around, or they're feeling some degree of breakdown that they need some support in building back up in their business?
Well, I'll just chime in real quick. You helped me realize something that I did, well, that I could have done better. A few weeks ago, I started reaching out to old friends, and just kind of doing what you were talking about, Joe, about just reaching out to the sphere and getting to those people. And now through this call, I actually realized that I only did that like for a couple days, and then I stopped doing it. And I completely forgot about it. And the reason why is because I didn't put a system to it. I was just scrolling through and messaging people exactly how you just like, oh, hey, I want to talk to that person. Oh, I'm going to skip that person. Whereas if I created like a list out of it, broke it down in like 5 people a day, that's a system that I could follow, eliminating that guesswork so that I could just be like, all right, who am I contacting today? Cool. Here we go. Boop, 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 boop. Send it out, get it over with. So yeah, thanks to that. That helped me realize what I did wrong there.
Isn't that
Import
amazing?
them into your CRM and just put them in alphabetical order, or put them in whatever order you want. And just on mine, I get up at 3 a.m. with my wife because she goes to work from 4 to 1. So from 5 to 6 in the morning, I go through and I start tagging people that I'm going to call. So when it's time to make my phone calls, I've got it right there. So if you just put them in whatever order, just tag the ones that you want to reach out to that day. Just remember, when you call your sphere that you haven't talked to in a while, that phone call's not going to be short.
Right. Joe, you should consider door knocking when you get up at 4 a.m. because everybody's home at that time. So you'll really have a lot of success at the
No,
door.
they won't be happy to see me at 4 a.m.
Think of all the contacts. God, I knocked on 100 doors, got 100 contacts. People threw knives at me, but All right, cool.
Hey, bring coffee and donuts with you while you door knock. I don't know. Good work.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. I look forward to these calls every week, and we will be here same time next week. And we're all about collaboration and support. And the goal is take just one little piece from each call, just one piece, and implement it each week in your business. And then after you do that 50 times, once a week for a year straight, business starts getting better. This little thing that you implemented 3 months ago shows up, and boom, a listing appointment is set because of it. So keep up the great work. Thank you for your participation, and I'll see you all in a week. Take good care, everyone.
Thank you for the invite, Aaron.
You bet. You bet. Take care.